You're listening to Behind the Shield, giving you 15 minutes of inspiration, triumphs, and more with the Salvation Army.
Hi, this is Captain Ken Chapman. I'm the Area Commander of the Salvation Army here in Orange and Osceola counties. We serve Kissimmee and Orlando and all the surrounding cities, and we have been serving for 103 years here in this area. I have an incredible guest today with this podcast. His name is Kaytron, and he has a compelling story. As we have been sheltering in Orlando for 103 years, and our mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, to serve suffering humanity, and we love inclusively, and we serve without discrimination. And so all those years, there are a lot of stories that come through this. And Kaytron is one of those stories. So Kaytron, welcome to the show. We are grateful for that, to tell your story. So as I understand it, you were down on your luck. Things weren't going well in your life. And you ended up at the door of the Salvation Army shelter. Talk to me about that part of it.
So like I said, originally I came in as a student, trying to get closer to the university here in Orlando. And it was kind of hard to, find housing. Like I said, I didn't have any money, didn't have any savings. So when I was looking for housing, I think I searched down at like one of those other places. I can't remember the name of it, but they denied me. And one of the people there was like, "Hey, you should go down and try the Salvation Army." So I came down here. It took a couple hours to get in, but guys accepted me, and that's kind of how it started. I stayed down, connected with one of the cooks, and she really loved my energy and loved.
You're talking about Ghislaine, who is one of the most amazing cooks and the most amazing human being you'll ever meet. And it is very true in this area. Affordable housing, especially for students, is almost non-existent. And you found yourself in that position, came to the Salvation Army, we accepted you.
Yes, sir. Definitely, indeed. And then obviously a part of the program, you have to get a job. Like I said, they didn't accept college students, so I kind of dropped my classes because I couldn't afford them anyway. And the job, I had two jobs that I ended up with. One was like at AT&T, doing a sales rep at like Sam's Club, and that didn't work out.
One of those annoying people that stop you from your shopping.
And try to get you to switch over to NTT, and that worked out for like a week.
You got to do what you got to do.
I had to, and so that didn't work out. And I waited. I think I waited like 2 weeks, and then I finally heard back from Publix because I was during the time of the hurricane. So it's kind of like I couldn't get around, couldn't move around. But finally, I got the call from Publix like, "Hey, come in," and I interviewed, and now it's about to be a year since I've been working there.
So Publix is a really good partner of the Salvation Army. They do a lot to help us with food insecurity, and they let us ring bells, at Christmas time with their red kettles. They are a great corporate partner here in our community. We're grateful for that. So to hear that they gave you a job, that's awesome.
And I just want to show you, I recently just got Employee of the Month.
Employee of the Month at Publix?
At Publix.
Hallelujah. Congratulations. Well, that means you got a good future ahead because they'll keep your eye. Maybe you'll be the manager of Publix one day. So you came into the shelter. You were in our case management program. They were helping you get all the things together you needed to get. You got the job. You went to school. You go to Full Sail University. Is that right?
I didn't go to school as soon as I got in. I had to go through the process with Angelo, and I had to focus on budgeting, focus on saving my money first, and It took about 6 months, and then finally I had to start looking for my apartment. And then after I found my apartment, I knew that I was ready to make that transition to go back to school.
In my former life, before as a Salvation Army officer, I used to produce live shows for TV, and I worked on a 7-second delay, and my brain is wired to think in 7-second increments, and it drives the staff crazy because they don't ever move as fast as I want them to or as I do, but I'm working on that. But you mentioned something that struck a nerve in me, that there's a process. You're not going to go in and overnight your life is miraculously fixed. The Salvation Army does not have that magic capability. And the other part of this is we do have good tools to help people, case management and all the other things we do. But you have to have a decision in your heart I got to fix my life and I got to have an investment in it, because otherwise we are a toxic charity if we just allow people to be there and we serve all their needs and they do nothing to help themselves. But you're one of those success stories we call a trophy of grace that made a difference, because in your heart, in your mind, you made a decision to move forward.
Yes, sir.
So how did that feel? What caused you to do that?
Oh man. So I knew that I had a goal. I knew that I didn't know exactly how I was going to get there, but I knew, like I said, I came in as a student. I was like, I want to be able to get back to that point where it's like I know that I want to be in school. I know I want to study film, and it's just literally having the tools and just having that mindset, because at first it gets kind of hard. I was lonely. I didn't have friends. I didn't have anybody to really call on. But it takes just being there in that moment, just by yourself sometimes, just focusing on yourself, and it helped, because I went to church a couple times, and man, Captain, I remember you had a sermon. It was about the pink donut.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that again in a few weeks, as a man. And you got a pink donut that day in church,
Yes,
didn't
sir.
you?
Yes, sir.
So I'm glad you mentioned that the Salvation Army also has a church, and we're kind of like the Methodist Church as far as what our theological beliefs are. But we believe in the body, the mind, and the soul. We believe that unless spiritually you have some kind of connection, whatever we do for your body and your heart is not going to make a difference unless you've made a commitment spiritually to get your life together. And so the church does a lot to do that. I'm so glad you came to that. We don't force anybody in the program to come, but you came on your own free will. Talk about that experience. You already said something about the pink donut. And by the way, I'm doing that the first week of November. Anybody that wants to come can come at 440 West Colonial at 10:45, and you can get a pink donut.
But yeah, like I said, so it kind of started with just, like I said, me being in a home by myself, working with gasoline every day inside the kitchen, just keeping my mind focused. And I started, I had a friend, it was Wade, and he was like, he was reading the Bible every day, and I was like, you know what, it's been a while since I tried to crack this thing open and understand it really. And so I started reading the Bible at first, and it was like, it wasn't connecting. So it's like, obviously, get up, let's go to church, and let's hear the word from somebody else. And a lot of times when you hear from somebody else, it just does something else different to you. So going to church, I think it really helped, and just being around, good energy and
people who are
good music.
People who are positive. Yeah, the music. We have about a 25 piece brass band that's pretty good. In that pink donut sermon, I talk about how much God loves us and how much He gives to us, and when we give back to Him, how He revels in that. And the whole premise of the story is my 18-month-old daughter taught me that theological premise when she was 18 months old. And I've used that throughout the years to let people know, yes, God gives to us. He loves us. He loves us so much He let Jesus die for us. But we also have to give back, not only to God, but to His kingdom and the things that we do. And so your life, okay, you got into the shelter, you were at a low point in your life, spent 6 months with our case managers and that wonderful cook, Ghislaine, and you got your life together, and you got a job at Publix, started earning some income. Then you went back to school.
Yes, sir.
Talk about that.
Man, yeah, Full Sail so far has just been a blessing to me. Because
That's a very expensive school, too.
It is, yeah. But like I said, I had a plan. I went in, I was like, all right, I know I want to do film. I know I can't pay for the whole 2 years just now, especially after the savings. I think I saved, I think this was the most I've ever saved. It was like around $8,000.
Yeah.
So I felt
Going from homeless to $8,000 in the bank.
$0 to $8,000 in the bank, and that's how I got my car. I found it, I think, on Craigslist, which was a whole process within itself. But I knew I had a plan. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to school. Film certificate, it was like $10,000. I was like, all right, so I know I at least got half of that. If I continue to work, which I continue to work, then I'll be able to pay off the rest of it. But yeah, Full Sail is it's everything I think I ever wanted.
And who knows, Kaytron, there may be a listener that hears this and says, maybe I can help him through the rest of that, because God always provides a way. And when you made a decision, evidently, I always say, if something makes your heart beat faster, that's how God has programmed you and the gifts and talents He's blessed you. So film makes your heart beat faster, and you're going after that destiny. that God probably put in your heart. So when you follow the plan he has for your life, he always makes the provisions for you to get where you need to go. He doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. And he's going to take care of you. I can promise you. I'm going to make that prophecy today. You will get through what you need to get through. And so after you get your film degree, what's the next step?
We'll go back and do audio because I found out how important sound and audio is in film. So I have to go back and do another 7 months for that certificate and then revisit University of Central Florida.
That is amazing. So a year ago, basically, going from homeless to now pursuing 2 certifications in your field of study that you've been called to. That is an amazing thing.
Yeah, yes, sir.
What would you say to other people who were in the situation you are, that sometimes, I'm sure in those days you felt no hope? Yeah. Or how am I going to make this? How do I find myself in that situation? What would you say to people who are currently where you were?
Oh, man, I would say find God, and find yourself in those moments that you have nothing, on the streets. You get to a point where you have a goal, you have Jesus, and just stay down and be patient.
It doesn't get any better than that, bro. It gets no better than that. And the fact, are you still going to church or following Jesus? Are you reading your Bible? Are you praying regularly?
Angelo gave me, I think it's...
Angelo's our case manager.
Yeah, he gave me like 365 days verses and scripts.
Yes. Yeah, good. Well, we would invite you to continue to come to our church. And if you come to first Sunday of November, you get another pink donut.
Yes, sir.
And then I'll twist it in a different way. And during this month of October, we're doing a series of kingdom living. How do we live in God's kingdom and bring God's kingdom on earth as it is in heaven, as he taught us how to pray? But we are so proud of you and the journey that you've come along with. And it's really important that people hear your story, because we can put, nice little clever ads out how good the Salvation Army is and all the stats that we do 300 beds of shelter a night, every night of the year, 1,000 meals a day, and on and on and on. But what really tugs at people's heartstrings is a real person who has made it from homeless to, who knows, you could be the next Cecil B. DeMille.
Look, I got to do my research.
Okay, you're too young. He was the one that made the big, giant, epic films like Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments and those kinds of things. But you could be the next big producer out in Hollywood and film producer. So we are so glad that the Salvation Army had a part in that, and people can also have a part in that by going to salvationarmyorlando.org or salvationarmyosceola.org, and you can see more about what we do. And we also have an app that you can look up, the Orlando Salvation Army, and we want to encourage people to help us keep this mission going. So we'll multiply Kaytron by 100 other people, because one life at a time, we make it a better community. I want to salute you for the tenacity that you had, the commitment that you had, because it takes a lot of strength to do it. There were times I know you thought you couldn't do it. But our case managers are wonderful. The staff at our shelter is wonderful. And we're so proud of you, Kaytron, and wish you the very best in your career. I look forward to big things from you.
Thank you so much.
And remember me when you have your first film debut, send me a ticket. Okay?
Sorry.
So God bless you, and thank you for a life well lived and more to come. So go to salvationarmyorlando.org and you can learn more, and you can be a part of this mission and help change lives like Kaytron and make this community better. God bless each one of you.
Behind the Shield is powered by News 6, United Way, City of Orlando and Orange County.